The crash-bang wallop of the Super Over series was frenetic, producing free-flowing stroke play, cutthroat cricket, and some shock results along the way. So sit back and enjoy our official review of the BCA Super Over series. Match 1 saw the NIFF NUFFS taking on Nice Gary, with the sides that finished top and bottom in the summer series facing off. The Nice Gary skipper Josh Bolling would set an early marker, finishing undefeated on 15. Perenara would struggle to get away in the early part of the over, 2 near misses flashing past his leg stump. But the NIFF NUFFS skipper would find his range just in time to make a late run at the total. He needed 3 consecutive boundaries from the final 3 deliveries, and he would get there with the final delivery of the over to clinch the 2 points in a thrilling victory to get his campaign off to a winning start. A high-scoring affair loomed as 2 inches short of a length took on HOWZAT, with the 2 form players of the day facing off. And the match didn't disappoint, with Hamid Basha and the Reds making the highest total of the tournament to date as they finished undefeated on 18. But the total would prove no match for Scott as he hit 5 consecutive boundaries off Hamid Basha to get HOWZAT home. The tournament would have to wait another match to see its first wicket as HOWZAT cruised to an opening victory. So the 2 sides who were defeated in the opening round of matches would face off in match 3 as Nice Gary took on 2 inches short of a length. With the Blues batting first once again, they could only manage 12 from their over. Buoyed by his bowling effort, Hamid Basha went into the run chase full of confidence. He would taunt his opposition number as he continued to move closer to the Nice Gary target, with the Reds' first win at BCA in sight. However, the next ball, disaster. Basha's over-exuberance punished as his side's wait for their first victory continued. Familiar foes HOWZAT and the NIFF NUFFS faced off in match 4 in a top-of-the-table clash. HOWZAT would bat first and would get away to a flyer. However, Perenara was able to peg Scott back in the back half of the over as HOWZAT had to settle for 14. But as Perenara did in his opening contest, he struggled to get away in the opening part of the over, which left him plenty to do. He would eventually break the shackles and get the 3rd ball of the over away to the boundary. However, with 11 needed from 2 deliveries, he would get too much elevation and hit one over the fence, and HOWZAT had defeated their rivals again. So that set up a winner-takes-all clash in match 5 as we entered the final round of matches. Basha would get away to a brilliant start once again as he would hit 3 boundaries on his way to 13 before skying one over the fence. The target presented a very gettable run chase for the NIFF NUFFS. However, Perenara, who was battling through injury throughout the day, began to fade dramatically. And with the next delivery, the NIFF NUFFS and Perenara's tournament was over as the Reds had finally broke their duck at BCA and registered their first victory, which saw them qualify for the prelim. That meant that the winner of this contest here in match 6 would be guaranteed a spot in the decider, and with Josh Bolling withdrawing from the tournament, it was up to the NIFF NUFFS loanee Michael Johnson to get the job done for the men in blue, and he delivered. Michael Mabry, who was in for Scott as he decided to rest ahead of the finals, would get 3 boundaries away at the back end of the over, but it was never enough as Nice Gary got the chocolates and were through to the decider. So it was head-to-head record which decided both ends of the table. Nice Gary straight through to the decider, with HOWZAT taking on the Reds in the prelim. Their previous meeting was a run fest. This one, not so much. Basha was dismissed with the first delivery of the match, hitting the ball over the fence, with HOWZAT feeling a sense of deja vu. They would get the match sorted with the opening delivery of the reply, a rising delivery put to the boundary from Scott, and HOWZAT had qualified for their 2nd successive final of the BCA season. And in that final, he would take on Michael Johnson and Nice Gary as things started positively from the first ball. But with the very next delivery, the final was turned on its head. A thick inside edge onto his leg pole, and the innings was over. So could Nice Gary get their first victory of the season? Things started brilliantly in the run chase as Johnson would square the ledger. Scott would beat the outside edge of Johnson as he was desperate for a wicket. But with the next delivery, Johnson and the Blues finished the job as Nice Gary cruised to victory in the final as they would claim the second tournament of the season. So the injection of Michael Johnson into the Blues lineup proved to be a pivotal moment of this Super Over series as the Blues claimed maximum points from the second tournament of the season. So that saw the Blues leapfrog the NIFF NUFFS into second spot on the overall standings, with HOWZAT remaining top and 2 inches short of a length remaining at the bottom as we look ahead to the autumn series.